The chorus is one of the effects that made the 80s sound like the 80s. Chorus adds depth, richness, and harmonic structure to a sound. It can make one instrument sound like multiple instruments. A chorus effect takes the original sound and doubles it. The Orchid is a chorus effect on steroids. It has 4 chorus effects with the standard speed and depth controls, but the Orchid also comes with a reverb, a delay, a high and low pass filter, and a shimmer, spread and feedback control. Hi everyone and welcome, I hope you're doing well today. My name is ThomC and today we're going to be talking about Orchid by WA Production. And I hope that you like the intro because it actually comes from the manual of Orchid, so always RTFM, read the freaking manual. And that's what I do for these reviews, I always do that, and it's pretty useful. Well, I suppose that you guys already have a chorus effect at least in your DAW, because most of the DAWs nowadays come with modulation effects. But it's interesting actually to see the different controls and the things that Orchid has to offer, and we'll try and showcase that on single instruments and also in context. And you'll also hear it on, the mix bus or actually stereo tracks. So I hope you like this video and let's check it out.
You and I, a delicate rise, I'll never feel.
So let's take a look at the user interface of Orchid. On the top left corner, if you click on the logo, you'll actually bypass or turn on the effect. Then on the right, you've got some arrows that allow you to go through the different presets. And then you can also load and save your presets here. Then on the plugin itself, you've got some controls for the chorus, or should I say the choruses, because there are 4 choruses. You've got the classic speed and depth controls. You've got a mix knob that allows you to blend the wet signal with the dry. Then you've got a feedback knob that if you push it all the way to 100%, it will feedback the input signal in a way that will go into a feedback loop. And most plugins, I would say most chorus plugins have some sort of a attenuation that won't make it resonate or won't make it go into a feedback loop, but that's the case here. So be careful with your levels when using this control. But this is pretty cool if you want to achieve some weirder effects. So, and then on the right, you've got a spread knob that allows you to make the signal wider. Then at the bottom, we've got a shimmer effect that is basically a pitch shifter of 2 octaves added on top of the already treated chorus effect. Then you've got a space effect that is a reverb. Then you've got a delay, high pass and low pass filters that you can control by clicking on the small circles here. And then in the middle, you can mute the source, so just listen to the treated signal without the input signal. And on the left and the right, you've got the input and output faders. And in the middle, you've got the waveform metering. So let's start off by listening to Orchid on some acoustic drums. The drums are Slate 5.5, and you'll notice some flanging on it. So listen to how the plugin affects the signal. Okay, now we'll listen to it on some electronic drums. The electronic drums are the CR78 by Samples from Mars. And notice the phasing and also the space that is added to the drums. Okay, so using a chorus effect on an acoustic guitar is quite useful. And in this case, I've used the shimmer effect as well to attract the listener's attention to the high end of the acoustic guitar. Let's now use the chorus on another acoustic guitar, and this one is from a song of mine called A Better Dance that you'll find in the description. And in this case, I wanted to achieve some sort of a subtle chorus effect and widen the track. The next one also comes from one of my songs called A Treasure in the Attic. And in this case, you'll actually hear the movement of the modulation. The next example is quite interesting. It's a felt piano that is actually from one of my songs called Morse Code on the North Star. And the piano is Frozen Piano by Herman Samples. You'll find the review of that on my channel. And hi, Patrick, if you're listening. So basically, in this example, I've actually used Orchid as a way of enhancing the lower information and the body of the piano. So you can do that by setting the low pass effect filter as I did. So let's listen to it. And the next example is actually the vocal of that same track. In this case, I'm using Orchid as a way of enhancing the top end of my voice. So you'll actually hear that in this case, I've used the filters again, and I've also used the space to give it a bit more depth.
Why is the world out there so bright? Be brave enough to accept the light. My gratitude is on par with the Morse code on the North Star. Why is the world out there so bright? Be brave enough to accept the light. My gratitude is on par with the Morse code on the North Star.
In the next example, I wanted to modulate or to automate the speed effect in order to achieve some sort of tape modulation effect. And so the track is actually from my review of the Epic World and Desert Winds sample libraries by Eduardo Tagliante. And after that, we'll be listening to one of my songs called Mental Image of the New Kind, where it has that retrowave feel, and I wanted to use the cassette effect as well on that. So let's listen to both of those.
Surprises when they give us more strange sequences, dynamical tattooed memories on my body. Final proofs of the world gone extinct, steering clear from battery powered wars. My body's weakened but my spirit soars.
And now we'll try out the Orchid effect on an electric bass, and you'll first notice some sort of comb filter effect, and when we change the depth of the plugin, we'll actually hear a more classic chorus effect that will be maybe reminding you of bands like The Cure. The next one is a synth loop focusing more on the space effect as well as the width of the chorus. You can also achieve some classic electric guitar tones, chorus tones with Orchid. Now we'll be using Orchid on acoustic guitars on one of my songs called People Singing from the Balconies. And you'll notice that actually sometimes chorus makes things wider, but in a mix you will hear that it actually makes things thicker, and maybe that it fills the gaps a bit. That's my feeling anyway when I listen to its effect on this particular track. So the track was mixed and mastered in Harrison Mixbus. I usually mix and master my tracks in Harrison Mixbus, but I do produce and record in Cubase. So I like, separating the processes, if you will. So that's one of the things that I do. And if you'd like me to talk a bit more about that in a future video, I'd be happy to do that. So let's now check out Orchid on the acoustic guitars.
Now my heart is in quarantine, pumping life to the rivers of Lombardy. We'll kiss friends Let's look at the stars together, each one more beautiful than the other.
Well, I think that even if you have other modulation plugins in your arsenal, you'll find some use for Orchid. Personally, I really like the filter that's built into this plugin because it allows you to select a portion of the spectrum and make it wider, or just give it a bit of movement to make it more interesting in your track. I also like the shimmer effect that allows you to add some top-end bite on different instruments. Well, I do have other modulation plugins that are quite powerful and complex, like Triad by Plugin Alliance and Unfiltered Audio, but this thing is kind of different because of its simplicity, and sometimes that's what you need. You just need one plugin that will work for a particular thing, and I think that it does it well. Well, if I could think of some improvements to this plugin and actually other WA production plugins as well, that would be a randomize function. That could be cool to actually, be even more creative with the effects on board. And another thing that could be improved as well when it comes to Orchid, that would be a dedicated presets menu rather than having to go to a folder and load presets from there. So whether you want to enhance parts of your signal, or whether you want to have a doubling effect, chorusy effect, or also whether you want something weird and try to experiment with effects, Orchid is a nice sounding and easy to use plugin that will get you there. So thank you very much guys for watching this video. Don't forget to subscribe and comment in the comment section down below, and thank you Simon at Plugin Boutique for your great support. So don't forget to experiment and to find your sound, and I'll see you guys very soon. Bye bye.